Let's get a Republican perspective now from the chair of the National Governors Association, Larry Hogan of Maryland. Governor Hogan, thank you for joining us this morning. I know that yesterday was the deadliest day yet in Maryland. Do you still expect to begin the first phase of reopening in early May?
Well, I laid out a plan yesterday that was very well thought out. First of all, Wednesday, we put out, as chairman of the National Governors Association, we put out a roadmap and a guideline for all the other governors across America about things that they ought to consider. Yesterday, I launched our kind of roadmap to recovery for the state of Maryland, which incorporated some of those things that we put in the National Governors Association plan. It took the input from some really the top epidemiologists and scientists here in Maryland, from Johns Hopkins and from Scott Gottlieb, who's the former FDA commissioner, from an AEI report and from a Hopkins report. It's very well thought out, and we're watching certain metrics and looking at a pattern of numbers before we make any kind of decisions. Everything is going to be based on the numbers and the science. We're not going to do anything that's going to put anybody in more danger. I want to get our economy back open just as soon as we can, but I want to do so in a safe way so we don't have a spike, we don't cause more deaths or an overloading of our healthcare system.
As chair of the NGA, are you concerned that any of those other states we're seeing now open, like Georgia and Oklahoma, that they're moving too fast?
Well, so the president made it clear that, the governors were going to be making their own decisions based on the facts on the ground in their own states, and that's exactly what they are doing. Certain states are in different points of the curve, and they've got different situations on the ground, and I don't want to second-guess my colleagues in different states. I'm not really that familiar with everything that's going on in every state because I'm so focused on what's going on here in my state and my region. But I think, various governors are making decisions based on what they think is best for their state. I'm going to be very cautious. We're going to make decisions on science. We're going to do things together as a region here in the Washington metropolitan area where, with Virginia and D.C., where, quite frankly, while we have some encouraging numbers on hospitalizations and ICU, which are leveling off, we're still going up with respect to the number of cases and the number of deaths.
On Friday, your emergency management agency put out an alert to the citizens of Maryland making sure that they did not ingest or inject disinfectants after the president's comments. And the president came out that day and had this to say about his comments.
I was asking a very sarcastic question to the reporters in the room about disinfectant on the inside. But it does kill it, and it would kill it on the hands, and that would make things much better. That was done in the form of a sarcastic question to the reporters.
Many of your citizens didn't see it as sarcasm. Is that how you took it?
Well, look, I think it's really important. This has been important to me from day one about communicating very clearly on the facts because people listen to these press conferences. They listen when the governor holds a press conference, and they certainly pay attention when the president of the United States is standing there giving a press conference about something as serious as this worldwide pandemic. And I think when misinformation comes out or you just say something that pops in your head, it does send a wrong message. And we had hundreds of calls come into our emergency hotline at our health department asking if it was right to ingest Clorox or alcohol cleaning products, whether that was going to help them fight the virus. So we had to put out that warning to make sure that people were not doing something like that, which would kill people actually to do it.
How do you explain that something like that?
I can't really explain it, George. I just think, look, I think the president's got to focus on the message, stick to a message, and make sure that these press conferences are fact-based. I think other people in the administration have been trying to make that clear to him as well. And we saw a different kind of a press conference yesterday, which I think may be showing that there's going to be a different trend in the future.
You also saw this week Senator McConnell make those comments about states considering bankruptcy. You heard what Governor Whitmer had to say about that. She considered it just a dangerous idea, completely rejected it off the table. You said that Senator McConnell is going to reject it. Is it indeed off the table, this idea of states going into bankruptcy?
Well, so the National Governors Association for over a month has been pushing. This is a very bipartisan effort to get the money was in the fourth stimulus package to get $500 billion to the states. So we're on the front lines. We've taken all these actions. We've got to provide these necessary services to help people get back on their feet. It's critical to the rebounding of our economy. And we've talked with people in both houses, both Republicans and Democrats. It was very close to happening in this 3.5. Senator McConnell blocked it. We have a commitment from the president and the vice president, and there's bipartisan legislation in the Senate to do something to help support the states. And I just said I thought Mitch McConnell probably would regret making that comment the other day. I think it just slipped out, but I'm hopeful that we will be able to convince Senator McConnell to go along with the bipartisan bill in the Senate and the administration's commitment to help the states in that final stimulus package.
Finally, Governor, your state has put off the presidential primary vote until June 2nd, and you're encouraging people to vote by mail in the primaries. Are you giving that same guidance to the citizens of Maryland for the general election in November as well? Vote by mail?
So we had an April primary, and one of the first executive orders I signed was to postpone that until June and to make that a by-mail primary. We have a couple of precincts open, one in each county, to allow for special folks, for people that are disabled, blind voters, for example, and people that didn't have a fixed address, but almost completely by mail. And our State Board of Elections is taking a look at that for the general election as well, just to see. We're going to see how this thing goes in June, and then we have several months to be able to prepare for that November election. But hopefully it'll work out well. We want to make sure every single vote is counted, and we want to make sure that our citizens are safe while they're exercising that right to vote.
Governor Hogan, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, George.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.